Okay. Great. Good afternoon, everyone. The CCDA Education Outreach Committee has been called to order today, February 23rd, 2022 at 1:34 p.m. Adam, will you begin with the protocols of how we conduct this meeting, please?
This committee is going to be held on Zoom via teleconference only. There is no physical location being made available to the public. Per Assembly Bill 361, teleconferencing restrictions have been extended through to March 31st, 2022. Therefore, committee members are not required to list their remote locations, and members of the public may participate either by Zoom or teleconference from any location. This meeting is being captioned and recorded. The live captioning link has been included in the chat for your use. This meeting is also being recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak and speak loud and clear. Public participants can use their raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak, and we will also give an opportunity for public members who have called into the meeting, at which time they can unmute themselves. If you are attending this meeting via teleconference, please press *6 on your keypad to unmute or mute yourself. If you would like to alert CCDA, press *9 to telephonically raise your hand and staff will call on you. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking in order to reduce the noise. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA, or you can email us at ccda@dgs.ca.gov.
Thank you, Adam. Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Sue L. Hessen.
Here.
Commissioner Michael Paravagna.
Present.
Commissioner Ashley Leon Vasquez.
Present.
Arnie Lerner. Stephen Simon. Zinat Hassan.
Here.
Wonderful. And at this time, with 4 participants, Commissioner Al Hessen, we do have quorum.
Okay, great. At this time, if there are any members of the public in this meeting who wish to identify themselves, you may do so now. Do we have anyone? I see some chats.
Good afternoon. This is Commissioner Jacqueline Jackson.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is public member Charlene Ornelas.
Thank you for joining us. Any other members in the public who'd like to present or identify yourself, please?
Hello, my name is William Railing. I live in San Francisco. I'm affiliated with a couple of accessibility groups and just participating as a member of the public today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
And then Commissioner Al Hessen, Nina Krischel is here on behalf of Senator Jones.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no one else, then I'd like to move to agenda item number 2, approval of the meeting of minutes for August 25th, 2021. Has everyone had a chance to look at the August 25, 2020 meeting minutes? We can now have a motion to approve the minutes. May I have a motion, please?
This is Commissioner Paravagna. I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Second, please.
This is Zinat Hassan. I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. Do we do roll call after the minutes? I know we do at our other board. I'm not sure if we do that here. Adam.
So Commissioner Hassan, we actually just with an I, you can move in if
Okay.
any questions or abstentions, and that's it.
Okay.
Just in general.
Thank you. So everyone in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, agenda item number 3, comments from the public on issues not on this agenda. Are there any comments from the public on issues that are not on the agenda at this time? I see William Reeling. Your hand is up.
Yes, hello.
Okay.
I don't see a time limit indicated. I assume about 2 minutes would be fine.
Thank you.
Okay. So my name is William Railing, and I live in San Francisco, and I'm active with an accessibility group called Accessible San Francisco. I also helped start up a Santa Barbara group called Accessible Santa Barbara. And I'm just sort of getting up to speed on all the great work this committee's been doing over recent years. And I have a suggestion or a question, because it could be something that's already happening and I'm just not aware of it. I see that the recent efforts have included the great outdoor dining guidelines. I followed that project. And that you are often talking about accessible parking issues. I don't know if this is covered by that, but there's so much going on with electrical vehicle charging stations and all over the state, obviously, and a lot of mistakes being made. This is an area where the ADA, federal ADA, really doesn't have many standards, but California has done a great set of building code standards that hopefully will be a model for the other states. But there's a lot of work being done that's improper, even without any permit at all. And so what I think a lot about is the role that the building officials play in California in achieving accessibility. It's a kind of a unique regulatory scheme here where you've got regulations passed statewide, and then at least 540, there's 540 cities and counties, 539. And so at least 539 different jurisdictions are charged with enforcing these important standards. And I'm sure everybody tries to be consistent, but it occurs to me that any interaction between this committee and the full commission and local building officials could possibly really improve compliance statewide. So I'm wondering if, like, the outdoor dining guidelines were sent to the building officials, and I'm wondering if there might be an opportunity for some outreach regarding electrical vehicle charging stations, which I think many local jurisdictions are struggling with, and any other issue that this committee works on regarding education and outreach where there are California Building Code accessibility standards. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Bye.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, when you're talking about the electric charging stations, are you referencing the issue or problem that they're taking space for the disabled spots? Is that your reference to bringing that up? Or just the location of how they're established?
Okay, since this is they're being installed, so this is the construction that's going on, right? We all seen this all over the state, right? Now, when you do this construction, there are accessibility standards for a certain number of the vehicle charging stations to be accessible for someone with a placard and a disability to use. And then there's a whole set of technical standards that go into what that compliance involves. And the DSA spent a lot of time developing those standards. It's a really good set of standards. To some extent, they're not being applied or even being ignored in terms of public accommodations like hotels, installing charging stations and just not even applying for a building permit, so they don't even get to the point of review of whether the accessibility standards were met. So just as a general comment, which I hope addresses your question,
Yes.
there's a certain, similar to accessible parking, when you do EV charging stations, there's a ratio of a particular number of them that are required to be accessible for people with disabilities.
Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I got you now. Thank you. Any other comments from the public on issues that are not on this agenda? Okay. Any hands up? I'm not seeing the
No,
chat.
ma'am.
Okay, great. All right. Then we'll move on to agenda item number 4, 2021 outreach and accomplishments. Angela, can you please provide us an update for item number 4? Agenda item 4.
Yes, today we have the thought at the beginning of our year for education outreach to kind of reflect on what we've accomplished in our previous year, and then a summary of where we're headed for 2022-23. So beginning with this agenda item of 2021, in relation to our accomplishments, we do have an annual report. So I want to begin by saying much of what we're sharing today is in the annual report on our website. And so please, all those who have not used our website to look at our annual report, please do so at this juncture, because we have this along with a whole bunch of other statistics and data that we'd like for all to glean from. Beginning with our notation, just some highlights. We definitely are not looking to go in depth with any one of our outreach accomplishments, but we did want to share a couple. And beginning with A, was commissioners' external engagement. We had a number of commissioners. You, our chair, was selected by a local television station to present on during the Disability Awareness Month in October, as well as you were able to combine that regarding what we're doing with CCDA along with employment and general information about disability awareness. So that was one of our accomplishments from our commissioners. We had actually a lot of our board members externally participating in 2021, along with Dr. Sue. We had our board chair. He was actually interviewed by a radio station, and that too is highlighted in our website. He was interviewed and had some number of highlights of him personally, as well as combining what CCDA does and our accomplishments. And then lastly, on external for commissioners, both our chair and Commissioner Paravanya was interviewed by a local radio station that has presented suggestion of continue looking at and seeing what CCDA does. But it also, what was a really cool thing about that experience is that we were able to launch our public service announcement at that radio, on that radio station that has about 4 affiliates, and they periodically are publishing our public, our PSA on their radio. So that has been a really great experience for us in terms of external commissioners making impact within the state of California and abroad, because Commissioner Downey was actually interviewed from a British radio program or podcast. The next one that we wanted to mention, that we also had a webinar that was partnered with GoBiz and Division of State Architect for us to do a what we call the launching of the parking campaign and relaunching or re-emphasizing the awareness and the need to understand the change of our dynamics of open air dining and curbside pickup. And we have, of course, have published a document with that information. And with that, we had combined just a presentation that we marketed through GoBiz. They actually supported the marketing of this effort, and we participated as attendees on that webinar. So that was a wonderful opportunity for us to partner with local or state agencies or sister agencies. And then last area of accomplishments is, again, the staff engagement. We have been on a consistent pattern of reaching out to local cities And we have had a number of cities that we partner with. We've helped them with some of their projects and efforts by sharing our information that we publish on our website, as well as data collection that we've done some ad hocs for some of the local cities. And so with that, we continue to build upon those relationships and look forward to continue of those efforts. But that will we have deemed as C, our staff outreach engagements. So are there any questions or comments regarding the things I've shared so far?
I'd just like a follow-up. I know we have some other PSAs or radio announcements coming up in the future. Is that correct? Are
We
there any
hope,
other scheduled? Okay.
yes, correct. So we, of course, we've had a student engagement that they helped produce a public service announcement that we still have yet to finalize in terms of getting it audioly available to the public. It has captioning, but it was still a little bit substandard to which we wanted for that particular piece. But it was, to me, a really strong opportunity and a sign of how CCDA can really build upon working with universities and grad schools, and which we've done also in history. Wasn't 2021, but we've used grad schools to help us do surveys and other outreach efforts. And so we definitely want to continue in those kind of processes of building out tools and marketing.
Right, okay.
Commissioner Paravani, I want to add one little facet that I think occurs that we may not really be tracking, or probably impossible to track. But when the commission puts a product together, those of us who are involved with the commission often just work that product into the work we're doing in our private lives. For example, the construction checklist, which has been very popular. I have shared that with the chief executive of Humboldt County. I've shared that with President Nelson at Stack State. I've shared that with the Department of Public Works, Los Angeles County, among others, and it's well received. And there's sort of this swelling of the impact we have through that kind of dissemination.
Commissioner Paravani, indeed, you are correct in that, as just I mentioned with our annual report, I have seen in the past those statistics being presented at workshops that I just happened to walk in on and saw that they were using our statistics. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
No one's advertising that. We just possibly are doing that all the time. And again, that's why we really encourage people to go to our website, because we do have a lot of good data that many people are using on a continual basis. And we don't know, but the reality is that's exactly what the purpose. We want to be that conduit of information. And so whoever can will, we love for you to use our data to help educate the public.
I've been doing the same with our local city, specifically on the accessible construction and inspection checklist. Great. Any other comments from our committee? Any comments then from the public on this agenda item?
Commissioner, this is Adam Barsanti. I'm not seeing any comments.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, projected educational outreach efforts 2022-23. Angela, can you please provide us an update for the agenda item number 5?
So yes, beginning again, as we said, 2022, 23, we have a number of projects in the hopper, and we look forward to developing them through the process of working through some of our draft the documents and so forth. So I'll begin again with A, Commissioner's External Education and Outreach Engagement. We, as you just said, Chair Ellison, that you're out there talking to your local jurisdiction, your local areas, and we continually to encourage our board members to be the subject matter experts, presenting our information to their network of influence. And so we always have encouraged that. We have and designed, and in this annual report that we have literally coming up, that we want to have our commissioner's corner of just highlighting all our commissioners' efforts for the year. And so we will continue to do that as we have. Right now, we're in the process of our next year's annual report. I'm getting confused as we talk past to current, but we have an annual report that is being reviewed currently through the executive levels of DGS. And that report has, just to give you a little tidbit of insight, we have a commissioner's corner that talks about some of the things that has occurred through the efforts of your personal work. With that said, we moved into the idea of our legislative one-pager. And if staff could, thank you. So we have a document that we have talked to, and I'm really glad to see that Senator Jones's office is here, and I believe a few others that have talked about that, we just need to know what CCDA does. We want to be able to have something in our hand that we can just give to our stakeholders, our constituents, and to understand how we could use your organization effectively and appropriately. And so we have a drafted document here of which we have to share with legislative offices, and it has been already vetted through the board of this is a document of which has been accepted by the board. And what we want to talk about is in this meeting is in the area of how to disseminate it appropriately. And so what we was considering again is being that we're in this pandemic world of virtual, some of it has been a wonderful thing that we've now expanded our outreach opportunities for folks that may not have come to our meetings, but at the same time, networking has evolved to how to, because even so when everyone is dispersed, how do you get to them to come together? We know some folks are working from home, and we want to be able to bring this information to them as they're working from home to think about what we have to provide for them. So what we were suggesting, of course, is first of all the legislative directors to be able to receive this document and then solicit their feedback if they have any questions or comment. That could be just a simple staff submitted to every legislative director and go from there. It could be a more formal scenario in which we would actually host a day of reviewing our document on top of something else. That is what we want to discuss today, is what is the appetite of this committee to be the first move beyond now that we've created the document. And I did actually, and I see Karina is here. She wanted to make comments. I think she had one comment that she wanted to bring up on this document. We may want to consider that as well at this time as we are talking about disseminating it.
This is Karina Roy with DGS's Office of Legislative Affairs. The only comment I had was under the bullet point of legislative assistance. Just for clarity, what we can offer during the legislative process without prior administration approval is what is known as technical assistance. And so that's a phrase immediately understood by legislators as, okay, these guys have the expertise, they know what's what with the ADA, California access laws, and it's just sort of a shorthand to let them know you might not be able to comment on the bill itself, but you can definitely share your expertise in that, basically as your subject matter experts. So that was pretty much it.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Paravania. Thank you, Karina. That's helpful because I think many times in organizations, it's a matter of finding the right terms to accurately communicate what you're trying to get across. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question to that. So what form would that take in regards to our outreach? Like, is that once we receive information or prior to the development of any legislation, you would reach out to us?
I'm not, well, my understanding is you guys were going to be disseminating the one pager. And
Right.
if you let legislators know that CCDA can provide technical assistance, if CCDA is contacted either directly by a legislator or if a legislator contacts the Office of Leg Affairs directly, then we'd work together to be able to provide that legislator feedback in the area of expertise. You know, if they call about the protections with the CAST program, or if they call about the data that CCDA collects, or particular sections of, you know, the ADA or the UNRRA Act. So that's, I hope I answer your question. I'm not sure if I did or not.
Yes, well, because I was just elaborating when you said technical assistance throughout the bill development process. So I was just getting,
Oh, yeah. So
that's what I
legislators,
meant in regards to.
yeah, legislators call throughout the year. Usually in the wintertime, it's when they're thinking of bill ideas. They may call to get some background. They may also reach out for technical assistance throughout the bill process as well. So it's a year-round thing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Chair Elson, what I know that we need, based on that feedback and the confirmation from Commissioner Paravania, that on that sentence, we just need to tweak it to say we are available for to provide technical
Correct.
assistance in the area of disability access laws and
Well, I would just add provide
or just stop it, technical assistance in the area of
technical
disability
assistance
access.
on disability access, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
staff, if we can just kind of take that note to as an action item to change that one sentence, and if because Commissioner Paravania also serves with the legislative committee who wrote this document. So it kind of works out kind of nicely right now.
Yes, and just I want to say for the record, I'm in support of using that term, technical assistance.
Yes, and it's part of our legislative language in our mandate, Dr. Sue, just to also reinforce that it is appropriate to say it like that. So if we say as a legislative established commission, we are available to provide technical assistance in the area of disability access. So, and chop off the last
Technical
part.
assistance on disability access. On disability access recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great.
So we were talking about the process. So just to quickly run through that, I think we had started this conversation on this. And so if we are in agreement that maybe the first thing would be submitting it to all the legislative directors first, and then just see how much traction of conversation that comes out of that. Could be a nice startup before we start scheduling any sessions.
I just have a quick question to educate me. Is there a hub of a database that would be sent out to legislators? Is there like something that would be able to send out so they would see our one pager?
So I don't know of a hub per se.
Do you know what I mean?
but
Like a
do-
database that we would.
Yeah, I
this?
do have the distro list that was provided by Danielle from Senator Scott's office. So we have like the list of legislative directors from and I actually received another one from both the Assembly and the Senate side.
Okay,
So we could use that as
That's
our
good.
start. So as action
Yeah.
item, we could make that our goal and just get feedback to let you know at your next meeting how, were there any questions, comments to staff? And we can summarize that and see if it's, does it draw a level of request to have more information?
yes. And then the other dissemination I was thinking about that was mentioned by one of our public members is our city public works.
So,
That way they would have a information of all the areas that we identify in regards to our construction checklist, our open air dining, disability access consideration, as well as for compliance for business. Well, the business one should probably go to the business, also include business licensing departments throughout the state.
yeah, this document was drafted as a legislative focus, but the reality is it has opportunities to be submitted in a format like this to our building officials. We
Yeah.
do have, it is, and I think Commissioner Parvano, you kind of stumbled on it too, that you saw at some of the cities, they have CCDA's website. It's kind of there with cities that they have in materials, but not necessarily mandated for them to pick up and look at it, but there is a reference to CCDA. And again, just for historical sake, we have sent all our checklists to every building official once around. We also sent out the open air dining document to every city as well. So we have done that, but marketing is a beast. You had to always constantly keep putting it out, right?
Right. And actually, this one pager I thought would be a great reminder to them of what's already out there in
Yes.
regards to the checklist and the open air dining. Now, that might still be changing, I'm not sure. The open air dining and curbside pickup. Because as COVID restrictions are lifted, I don't know how a lot of the different avenues of restaurants and also city regulations changing as a result of that. Or if there are going to be any future changes from that perspective. I'm not sure.
I know
That's
that it's live and well, that open air dining and curbside pickup is not going away. It's actually increased business profitability in some ways. So we have seen that people have found new ways to expand their services. So we have to get smarter in terms of helping businesses do it right.
Yeah, because that comes into the whole access of parking, that many of them are taking up spaces for the outside dining areas. Just from my observation too, as I'm out and about, I'm seeing that.
So Commissioner Elizondo, there is a hand, and I don't know if the hand is on this particular one or on other parts of this agenda. So if you wanted to open up to continue discussion on this area or move.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this Charlene?
Yes.
Yes.
Ornelas.
Ornelas, I'm sorry, thank you.
That's okay. And if you need it for notes, it's ORN as in Nancy, ELAS like in Sam. This is an excellent paper. I have one area of it that I would like to see improved, and that's number 15. It talks about service dogs being accepted and that people can ask, is that a service dog? Well, there's companies that are making a fortune and they're advertising on Facebook and other places. It says, don't leave your dog, your pet at home. Take it with you. We'll certify it as a service dog. Well, the problem is those dogs don't go through the training of a service dog. They are a nuisance. They are barking at the trained service dogs, which is if you went into somewhere and somebody started screaming at you and cussing at you, would you want to be in there? Our dogs are affected by those mishandled or misclaimed pets. And in California, it is bad enough that there's actually now a law, and I don't remember the number on it, that says it's illegal to portray your dog as a service dog when it really isn't really. If that could get out to people so that they even know that if a dog is inside their business and is barking and carrying on, whether it's a certified service dog or not, and this is in the ADA, and you can find it in ada.gov, that you can tell them to remove the dog.
Yeah,
Charlene,
I see that. I'm sorry.
I need to interrupt because
That's right.
I do need to explain that particular topic, and I appreciate you raising your hand and talking about it, because we do know that we're going to be working on it. So I don't want it to be presented as though it is not going to be reviewed. So that's a wonderful comment. And the reality is that we want to redistribute it, but we also want to review it to make sure it's updated. And that's held out. Again, education outreach is the marketing and the educational distribution of our tools. And so, but they're not the creators. So what we wanted to say for this particular one, since you went on to myths and misconceptions, is that we do have plans to take it back to our checklist committee and have it reviewed before we redistribute it, because we do want it to be redistributed, but we always have a process of which we vet it and look at it and then redistribute it. So I wanted the Education Outreach Committee to know that it is in the hopper, again, as part of our plan for outreach.
My other comment, I have another comment on it, and that is on this distribution. And that is to distribute it to businesses through like the Better Business Bureau or another group. Because if you do it through licensing, those who already have their licenses may not have it. But to get the regulations on the front end of any changes that somebody is making is a good idea. And it lets businesses know ahead of time that these are things to consider. And so distributing through the Better Business Bureau or other business organization or organizations would be very beneficial. That way you'd get this in front of people doing the work instead of after. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're right, it is very important. Also as a safety issue when you have untrained service dogs in public settings. Any other questions or feedback?
So we kind of moved into the next one. So, and honestly, the reality, I love the idea, the comments about the myths and misconception. We do want to make sure that all our myths and misconceptions are up to date. Any questions or comments, we will be working on that in the checklist committee. And I do encourage anyone who is interested in this particular document to reach out to the staff to make sure they're included on the meeting of the checklist committee so they know that when it's going to happen next and when it's going to be on the agenda. Because currently it is something we have existing, but we also have to redistribute it and make sure that it is appropriately given to the right groups. And I appreciate, think about new groups, because again, as was stated, get it to those who just starting, get it to the ones who's already in the game, and as many other folks who can help assist businesses to be aware of their responsibilities and clarify some myths and misconception. Hear it all the time. There is still, all those myths are still alive and strong when many businesses thinking certain things about what they can and cannot do. So we have a lot of responsibility in that.
I'd just like to add that I think it's important for I know that many service dog trainers are, when they take their dogs out to train them in the public and in businesses, I think it's important for them to also be able to have this checklist to pass out to businesses, because they do get approached and they do get permission in order to have their dogs actually go through and be trained in that type of environment. It's just a thought to add to our outreach to the trainers themselves.
Very good point. The next part was the accessible parking campaign toolkit. We are again in the checklist committee working on through work groups. We have 3 different work groups that is being led by our consultant that will be assisting us in the area for business focus, construction industry focus, as well as our ADA and local government focus. So we have those work groups. They've started, they've begun making some really good strides in developing the outlay of this tool. And so I'm really excited about that. And again, it's part of an ongoing campaign process of parking, accessible parking. And then the last one is in regards to our education outreach of data portal to legal offices. As many of you may know, CCDA last year made a year-long research effort on the usage of our database in terms of those who are legally responsible to submit their cases and their complaints to CCDA from the federal and state courts. We did a great job. Again, look at our website. You'll get the information on our tool from our annual report. But what's clearly understood, there was many people who didn't even know it's their responsibility. And we know that it takes, again, education, reinforcement, and continued clarification of their responsibilities. So we have designed a couple of letters that one has been focused for the state bar, because they are responsible of notifying, and they've agreed and accepted and love the idea of partnering with CCDA and getting that information out to their database, so to speak. And then we also, though, we wanted to learn about all the other legal associations. We have a letter that we've drafted for them as well, and we want to be able to target the various types of legal groups. And I heard there's like over 200 of them within that we could be able to actually send letters to and to update. So that is our other major plan within 22-23 for education outreach efforts for marketing our work.
I was curious, that sounds great. Does Disability Rights Organization have a database themselves that they can help and disseminate this information? Zenit?
Oh, DRC, Disability Rights California. Yeah, so it's not really a database, but we produce a lot of our own publications that are similar to like the myths and misconceptions, but more succinct, meant to be, geared towards like a more general audience. So I think, let me look into it. And yeah. I think we do have stuff about CCDA somewhere that probably needs to get updated. So let me ask internally, and I think we can help with that.
As far as dissemination, do you have other attorneys or public nonprofit organizations that would help benefit from this? As far as disseminating like information out to specifically on the legal portal, the legal offices?
Let me give it some thought. I think one of the potential, like not conflicts, but I think a lot of the information that we have is aimed at a slightly different audience, because a lot of the materials that I think come out from CCDA are about compliance. So they're directed towards businesses, whereas our materials are directed towards people with disabilities. So it's like the opposite side of the same coin. We don't really provide technical assistance to businesses directly. So I can't think of a place where we would tap in, you know, that makes sense to tap in, but let me think about it a little more.
Yeah, I thought of you guys because of your outreach too, that you do to the disability community, but a lot of it is, like you said, is intertwined.
Yeah.
But it's also a great resource for people with disabilities too, as they're going out. Okay, thank you for that. As far as the parking campaign, one of our attendees actually mentioned something about the electric charging stations and disabled use of those. And I thought about that, and when I go around, I don't see accessible slots. And that's a very great point that he brought up. Is that something that CCDA needs to look at revamping or actually including as part of our accessible parking campaign?
This is Commissioner Paravania. I was going to suggest that under future agenda items that occur.
That sounds great. Yeah, because when I was hearing his description, I thought about that. I thought that's a very great point. I've never seen actually accessible spots. I also thought that when I'm going around, that they're taking a lot of spots from people with disabilities who need to have that parking available for them. So that's another thing I was wondering is the actual location. If they're not disabled, charging people or stations for people with disabilities, do they need to be put right up front and taking space from those people with disabilities who need that parking access?
Well,
I'm just saying it out loud. I'm not.
I think it's probably a really, really good agenda discussion for either the full commission or this committee to discuss, to bring the experts to just give clarity and understanding, as well as to talk about things that are happening from the disability community. Like, as you just said, Dr. Sue, that there's things that they're experiencing that maybe those who are responsible for it are not cognizant of or have been brought to their attention, or maybe they have and they're working on something that the disability community would be enlightened to know that that's happening. So I think it is a future agenda item to explore what is the conversation, what are the questions, and maybe that could be what the education outreach does in their agenda to help develop a plan of information discussion for the full commission. But I definitely think it's worth exploring. We have I know it's part of the working group to have some level of something in there regarding the EV stations, but I could not say, is it going to address some of the concerns that that this audience wants to learn more about? And I just think it's worth taking the time to slow down and think about it.
Right. But as it was stated, they're actually being constructed right now. So that's something that we might be behind the ball on from that perspective. Or how can redesigning maybe those spots or relocating them as needed? I don't know, just some thought, just brainstorming off the top of my head as we're talking.
Yes.
Any other comments regarding this, from the public regarding this agenda item?
I do just want to pause to say one of your committee members has logged in, committee member Ernie Lerner.
Thank you.
For
Welcome.
the record.
Okay. Any topics regarding agenda item number 5 as before we move on? Okay. Future agenda items, I think we just talked about that right now. So we will be including that as part of a future agenda item. I think it should be considered both. I think we should present it to the executive committee because it's inclusive of both the accessible parking campaign and education outreach. So I think we should really collaborate on that as a group from a bigger perspective. Any other future agenda items for discussion at this time? Okay, I'd like to add something in regards to our public outreach, and that's facilitating additional either radio announcements or interviews. It could be even with local channels like I was doing, or even from a more expanded state level if there's a podcast. So I just wanted to put that out there in regards to what are additional outreach and marketing sources that we can tap into this year, and for commissioners or community commissioner members to actually start exploring and reaching out to them. I know as part of my role as a commissioner for LA County Public Social Service, I do have a resource and I'll tap into her because she does all the announcements for Janice Hahn in regards to, and I think other state superintendents or county superintendents information log or putting information out. The other thing I was going to mention is, are we on Twitter, Angela?
So our marketing is under DGS, and I believe DGS does have a Twitter account. So we can, if there's anything that we want to twit, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
They have in the public affairs office has been extremely supportive of anything we want to put out there. So if we have something, we just need to send it to them.
Okay, great. Okay, that's great to know. Thank you so much. We don't have any other future agenda items at this point. I'd like to move on to agenda item 7, and that's recognition of our executive director. She's going to be moving on to greater and better things. And I know it's with the Bureau of Real Estate. Correct. Help me fill that in, Angela, your complete title that you're transferring to.
You're almost there. Bureau of Real Estate Appraisers.
Appraisers. Okay, I couldn't think of the last word. Thank you. So in that, I'd like to, we have a recognition of all your support and efforts that you've done throughout the years on CCDA. And I've just been honored in this brief time in working with you, and your support also in helping me get on board and catching me up on all the great work that you've been doing throughout the years and moving forward. And it's really accelerated, I know, since I've been on the commission based on your efforts. And I'd just like to truly from my heart congratulate you. I know it's going to be hard to fill your shoes, quite honestly, because of your experience and your networks and being able to really understand our true mission on CCDA in regards to accessibility for people with disabilities throughout the state. So with that, I'll turn it over to, I think, Adam.
Actually, I'll take it from here.
Okay.
My name's Phil. Hey, this is Phil McPaul. I'm the operations manager here for CCDA, and I just wanted to, well, just like everybody else, echo our gratitude to Angela. Wanted to say a few things about Angela, make a few comments, give a little bit of history, actually, history lesson. She's actually been with CCDA since 2009, and she's actually done a great job of moving the commission forward to help build what it represents today. From its beginning, CCDA has been focused on accessibility for all Californians. And one thing I can say is that Angela has impressed this upon the staff and commission, and her expertise and experience cannot be replicated. And Angela, you'll be greatly missed. And as a token of our appreciation, we have filed a resolution that is forthcoming. It's been filed through Assemblymember Janet Wynn's office with the state legislature. And right now, I'd like to take a moment to read the text from this document. Whereas Angela Jamont has worked assiduously throughout her career to promote the values that make California a great state amongst this great nation. Whereas Angela Jamont as executive director of CCDA, she has worked tirelessly in promoting disability access throughout California. Her efforts supported California businesses and the individuals and patrons of California. Having been a part of the commission since 2009, she was able to grow within the commission, and her relationships with sister agencies and outside partnerships have been greatly appreciated and will be greatly missed. Whereas Angela Jamont fully understands the complexity of the obstacles facing persons with disabilities and the needs of California businesses, as well as bipartisan reforms. She has conscientiously worked with the executive director of the California Commission. She has worked as the executive director of the California Commission on Disability Access, CCDA, for over 7 years. Her commitment is felt and respected by her colleagues on the board, staff, and stakeholders of CCDA. It's a true creation of Angela Jamont. We hereby wish to express our sincere gratitude of her commitment and service to the California Commission on Disability Access and to California. Sorry, I butchered that a little bit. We can post those. We can post those. The words to that once we get that document finalized. So I know there's some people. Thank you, thank you, and thank you, Angela. There's a brief video we wanted to play. Just a little bit of recognition for Angela. We put together a little slideshow. It's very quick, and Adam is going to go ahead and get that rolling for us. Thanks, Adam.
Hi, Angela. This is Scott Littlebridge, and I'm wishing you all the best in the next chapter of your life. It's been such a pleasure working with you the last 4 years. You brought so much passion and commitment to CCDA. I'm really going to miss you. Take care.
When I first joined the CCDA Commission, it was clear right away that Angela Jamont was the godmother of CCDA. And it was also clear that she was the driving force behind all the good work that the Commission and the CCDA staff have been able to accomplish. We're going to miss Angela a great deal, and we're proud of her accomplishments here at CCDA, but also those that she will accomplish with her new position, while keeping an eye on those pesky appraisers. Congratulations, Angela.
Very nice.
Nice. Nice.
And yeah, we just wanted to say thank you again, Angela. I wanted to open it up for anyone out there that would like to, if you have any words for Angela or anything you want to say, this is a kind of an open floor at this point. I have a comment that I need to read as well from someone who's not here physically, but wanted me to read something. But let's go ahead and have, if there's anyone else who wanted to has any words for Angela at this point, this will be your time.
This is Commissioner Paravania. I started working with Angela and CCDA when I was a potential consultant and she was an analyst. And I have watched and been there to hopefully support the changes that have been made in the commission that have been facilitated by this marvelous woman. She has, even as the sole analyst at the time, she was pushing things through. And then, there was a point in time where there was no executive director and she was the rock. And then she became the executive director and she blossomed. And I just want to say thank you so much, my friend. You will be missed in major, major ways. And I wish you all the best. Thank you.
I see a couple of hands up. Do you want to just chime in?
I can chime in. My hand's up. Angela, I just want to tell you it's been a pleasure working with you and being a partner in your force to leading CCDA to better technology, to have great outreach and better statistics and information. Me and the team have loved working with you, and we've learned so much from you. So thank you, and good luck in your new endeavor.
Thank you. Phil just walked in the office. He has.
I ran down here from my office 8 blocks. I wanted to show the plaque that we also put together for Angela. It's all weird on the.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. It's not coming through.
I'll read it. How about that? Hereby honor Executive Director Angela Jamont with this award recognition for many years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment serving as Executive Director of the California Commission on Disability Access. Thank you. And this is February 23rd, 2022. So we present this to you, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you.
And there's some flowers around here somewhere.
I know.
Great job.
Thank you.
Also, Commissioner Vasquez has her hand up.
Yes, hi. I know I'm the newbie. I'm the newest member on the commission, but and I got to work with Angela this past year and just listen in and see on all the amazing things that she's doing. And I'm just want to say it was a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm glad that I got to spend this last year with you as chief. And also to say, you're very inspirational, not just as a woman, but just a woman of color, a brown woman. And I just think it's amazing to see and very inspirational. And, I wish you the best of luck in your new endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the other hand, LaCandace, there you are.
Good afternoon, commissioners and Angela. As your first operations manager, I wanted to come on and say hi and wish you all the best. I truly appreciate everything you poured into me while I was staff at CCDA. It has been transformative for me in my career. I'll never forget it. I wish you all the best. And I'm so proud of you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more handout. I'm sorry, up. Sorry, not out.
Good afternoon, commissioners. and Ms. Jemmett, Mike Jemetsky, Contractor State License Board. I just wanted to thank you, Angela, for being such a wonderful partner and fostering the relationship between our two agencies. I'm happy to work on the accessible parking construction campaign. And thank you for getting me on the team. It's been a pleasure and best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, do we have anybody else that would like to speak or has any words for Angela at this time?
I don't see any other hands, but I'll leave it up to staff.
This is Commissioner Jacqueline Jackson, and I pressed the *9, but I guess it didn't register that I'm on the telephone. But I just wanted to say thank you, Angela. It's just been a pleasure working with you. I'm a newbie too on the commission, but I met Angela when I sat on other boards and commission, in particular the State Independent Living Council. She's always has been an advocate and an outstanding spokesperson. And I have been trying to, to work with people in San Diego with our construction checklist. I posed to them, I said, we should not even be able to, they should not even be able to get a building permit unless they agree to these conditions. But you're an awesome person, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
If there's no one else, I'm going to hand this back over to Commissioner El Hassan. So thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, for putting that together and the presentation. Do you have any comments, Angela?
Yes, so I wondered before you close it out.
Yeah.
Man, I'm emotionally kind of swirling right now. But I clearly know that I'm extremely appreciative to the opportunity to have served in this capacity. I'm also appreciative to the people that I've worked with. When Commissioner Paravaglia was starting to talk, I remembered a morning that I called you at 7, I think it was 7 in the morning, and I had a major issue that I had to deal with, and he was my rock. Because I had to do something pretty tough the first time I had to do it. And you were there for me, and I'll never forget that. Actually, you've been there for me for a lot of phone calls, but that one I remember, it was pivotal in my career, and I thank you for that, being there.
You're so welcome.
I'm so pleased to see LaCandace again. Yeah, she's my first operations manager, and man, she was amazing and a rock too, because we were just switching over to being under DGS, and there was a lot of changes that we had to endure. And she was there and was very strong and helped as we built this organization. And I was really glad to see all the things that she was able to grow and develop in her career. And I'm grateful for the experience. I see a lot of names all over this board of participants, and I'm just, just so grateful for the relationships. Yes, Commissioner Jackson and Leon Vequez, you were new to me, but boy, did we just jump right in and start moving. And Dr. Sue, man, you're this powerhouse that I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know it's all good with everyone that's on this board. And the comments that were made that on the video was extremely touching. I will watch it again over and over again. It was fun looking backward at all those fun days, fun times of serving the state of California. This committee, Education Committee, you have a great work to do, and I'm grateful for every single one of you that's on here working and making it happen. And the teams that, the DGS teams that are here helping us, that is just amazing, and we just so appreciate that. Nancy, you've been always this like can-do person that I just love to work with. It's easy when you got a can-do Nancy. So I just thankful and all the legislative committee members, senators, Scott Jones, and just all of them throughout the time, and we've worked so closely with that. I just been just grateful. So yes, it's a change, and I'm glad to have met all of you, and I hope that we can still some kind of way. I was telling a couple of them, like, I'll just switch gears on topics. But nevertheless, thank you all. Thank you, team. They're all out there. I keep seeing them running past my window. So there's something else going on out there. I'm just so grateful for a great staff and a great colleagues, all of you and the stakeholders. Every single one of you on here is important to me and has been important to the board. I thank you for your comments. I thank you for caring about what we do. It's important that you keep doing that, keep sharing your thoughts. It may be different and unique, and that's good. You know, that's what we like at CCDA. And so thank you all, and I appreciate every single one of you. So it's not goodbye, but just see you later.
Well, again, thank you, Angela, for all that you've done, and just really sincerest wishes as you move forward. And it's a new venue and an exciting change for you too. But I hope we can always turn back to you and ask you for advice as we continue to move forward. I think you'll always be a part of us, even though, like you said, it's not goodbye, you just see you later type of thing. So thank you again. Okay, with that, I just move on then to agenda item number 8, where we'll adjourn, and our next meeting will be held on May 18th, 2022. All right, thank you all. Thank you, Angela. We'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.